What's up, you guys? Venture Warrior here, doing another OVA. Yeah, OVA. Well, I guess is it a movie? I don't know if I want to really call it a movie, but OVA anime OVA review. Yeah, let's just go with that. Short and sweet. This time we'll be looking at The Cockpit from 1993. Um, yeah, I discovered this OVA through a YouTuber who does content on anime, obviously. So that's how I got introduced to it, and I saw that it was on YouTube for free. So if you want to check this out, it's on YouTube for free. And I just went ahead and let me give it a watch, and here we are. I want to talk about it. So The Cockpit. This is a war drama. Um, so this was based off a manga, I believe, from Lenji Matsumoto. I could be pronouncing his name wrong. There were only 3 episodes. There were three stories were adapted from the manga. So we only got 3 episodes. So it's about an hour and some minutes. All segments had different directors. Um, One of them I am a big fan of. I don't think he's really directing anime too much anymore, but back in the day, he directed a lot of action anime. One of my favorites being Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. So that's really cool. And again, for those who've been following me for a long time, um, I went uh, briefly went enlisted into the U.S. military around 5 months ago. I went in January. That's where I started my journey, however you want to say it. I went in January, and I left in May. Um, was it May? Yeah, it was May. Yeah, so I was only in it for like 5, 6 months. Like I said, I was in the O9 mic program. So if you don't know what that is, just Google it. I did a video on my YouTube channel going over my experience with that. So I kind of got a taste of, at least as far as like military training. I can't really say I got to experience what it's like to be an enlisted soldier. But as far as military training, I got to learn and see some different things while I was away. Um, so I could kind of relate to some of the story. Well, not necessarily story, but I could relate to some aspects of this OVA through my brief military experience. Um, but yeah, so like I said, what are our 3 stories? Let's get into our 3 stories. So, the first story, um, I feel bad. I kind of forgot the name of what the stories were, the name of the stories, but first story, we follow a group of soldiers. Um, I think the one soldier is a fighter pilot, and some stuff happens. And I can't remember if he failed to save his squad. It was something along those lines. Um, but the first one's a little bit more drama heavy. I mean, it's like this is a war drama. So the first one's a little bit more drama heavy. We do get some cool aerial combat sequences. I guess another good example would be like Podorosko, which is from I forgot the studio that does all those popular all those anime. Um, Studio Ghibli, yeah, Studio Ghibli. They did one similar. They did one a movie about a war pilot. That was really good. Porto Rosco was really good. I recommend that if you're interested. So I kind of got vibes relating to that movie. But like I said, the first one is cool, and I recognize the art style. The art style was the same as for anyone who's seen Daft Punk's anime. Um, it was kind of like it was in the same art style as that, so I thought that was really cool. Um, so yeah, that was the first one. Second one, we follow a group of I'm assuming the soldiers we see in this movie are Asian or is the Japanese army. I'm not entirely sure. I believe they are. We see them. The second story, we follow a team who one of the members was assigned to not be a suicide bomber. I wouldn't say that, but like, which this, I believe this was done in the real World War era, where, you know, you would fly your ship or your plane into an enemy, you know, enemy base or ship or something, and you basically sacrifice yourself to save, you know, your team to complete the mission, save your country. There were instances where that happened. Um, I think our one of our soldiers who served in the U.S. Army, I think I read that they did that. They, you know, they sacrificed themselves to save to win the war. So that was a pretty heavy topic. That was a pretty heavy subject to kind of, you know, to try to convey in an anime. But it was good. Like the second story is good, kind of, you know, a little depressing concerning the subject matter, but it was good. Um, and then excuse me. Oh, story number three. Hmm. We follow a guy, a soldier on a motorcycle, and he is accompanied by another soldier, and they end up working together, and you know they're fighting against the enemy, and stuff is happening, and I don't want to spoil how it ends, but again, the ending is kind of bittersweet. Like I said, it's it's entertaining, but like I said, the subject matter is like when you take something that's like real, or like you take a situation that can happen in real life and adapt it into an animation, it makes the anime more grounded, because it's like, oh snap, these scenarios could have happened to real people, or these, you know, this situation could happen to someone in real life, and that makes it more like it kind of takes away from the fantasy element, and it makes the experience more grounded, which I like when it comes to certain projects, certain animation projects, and it shows that you can tell a serious story through, you know, animation or video game, or you know, even a book. You know, you can tell a serious story. Um, so I really like that aspect about the OVA. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I would, but it's not for me. It's like I said, it's an anime that you have to be in the mood for. It's not like, you know, it's not like if I was to watch Dragon Ball, like I could just hop into Dragon Ball and know and enjoy it. That's something that's rewatchable. But you know, this is something more grounded. Like I said, this is something, you know, I kind of have to be in the mood to watch. But I thought it was cool. Oh, excuse me. I thought it was cool. I rewatched off topic. I rewatched Devilman recently, but I think I talked about all the Devilman OVAs, so won't be doing that. There's one action movie that I didn't get to finish watching, that I wanted to revisit, and I got to finally see that all the way through. I'm debating maybe talking about it, because I thought it was just okay. Thought it was okay. So I don't know if I'll go out of my way to review that. But yeah, like I said, Cockpit, cool war anime OVA. I dig it. Like I said, it's on a YouTube channel called The 14th Doctor. Check them out. Subscribe to them if you're interested. They have a whole playlist of anime movies and OVAs. A good chunk of them, of course, I've seen, because a lot of those are, you can pretty much find those on YouTube. But there are a handful, like The Cockpit, that I haven't seen yet. So, check it out if you're interested. Like I said, next video, I don't know, maybe, like I said, talk about the action movie, or talk about some more anime, because that's what I'm kind of in the mood for. We'll just see what I come up with. But as always, like, comment, follow, share if you want to, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Venture Warrior here, doing another anime OVA review. This time we are looking at Desert Rose. Something. Oh man, I forgot the second title, but actually, yeah. Let me Okay, Desert Rose Snow Apocalypse. This came out in 1993. Yeah. Um, Again, another anime. Continuing with, I guess, my little anime binge, OVA binge. This is another really good one. It's only like an hour, so again, you can watch it in a day. It was solid. It was solid. You know, I mentioned this in a previous anime review some years ago that anime, they do a really good job of having female protagonists, and this is a good anime is a good representation that you can tell a story with a female character and have it be entertaining, have it be well written, and have the characters be entertaining and well written. And of course, not every anime, depending on the anime, we're not gonna include like harem or hentai or anything of that nature. We're talking about anime that's for the most part more for general audience. Um, so yeah, so it's a pretty basic story. I'm not sure if it was based off a manga, if this is an original video animation. I didn't bother to see who the studio was that animated it, but they did a good job. The animation in this was solid. Again, this is brought to you by 14th Doctor. This is on their YouTube channel. So again, if you want to watch it, they recently uploaded on their YouTube channel, 14th Doctor on YouTube. Um, like I said, pretty straightforward story. We follow a team, all female special forces unit, and they're trying to take down a group of terrorists. That's pretty much it's pretty basic. Um, we like I said, we have our leader, who I would say is the character with the blue hair, I guess, yeah. And even though this you see the cover, the art style, it has a different art style in the anime, so the characters don't really look. The characters aren't in this art style in the actual OVA. I watched the sub version. Thought the voice cast did solid. Um, there was one scene that caught me off guard. I was like, wow, like, I was like, damn, we went dark really quickly. I was reminded of that I was watching the anime. Like there's a scene, kind of a spoiler ahead. There's a scene where one of the main characters is we see a flashback with them and their family. They're at the airport, and yeah, bad things happen at the airport. And I was like, wow. I was like, damn, I was not expecting that outcome. But that was cool. That added to the story. I mean, like I said, the action sequences were cool. It was like a mixture of like uh, Mission Impossible meets Charlie's Angels, sort of. Yeah, I guess that's the best example I could give. Like Mission Impossible meets Charlie's Angels. That's the kind of the energy I got from this OVA. It was fun. Like I said, it's animation was cool. The storyline was easy to follow. Action sequences were straight. Kind of a shame. I think they easily could have did a follow up. I don't know if this got a follow up. But like I said, kind of like on the same level of Gunsmith Cats that I talked about recently. It's good. It's just a fun watch. There really wasn't anything bad I could say about it. The only thing I could say is maybe I just kind of wanted some more. I'd like to see more of these characters, like a part two. I don't know if there's a part two to this or not. Um, like I said, it was fine. Solid anime. Didn't overstay its welcome. Um, that's really all I could say about this. It was Desert Rose. Snow Apocalypse was a good little OVA. As far as next videos go, I'm not sure. Like I said, we'll probably continue with some more anime because that's what I've been in the mood for. Look at my watch. Like I said, there's excuse me. I watched some new movies or something. I'll talk about that. Like I said, September is about to be here, and then of course we have October. So usually during spooky season, I always try to go all out with my content. Spooky, Halloween videos, horror movie oriented videos. I try to, I would upload almost every day, almost every other day. So we'll see if I can keep that energy for this year. Like I said, I'll try to, try to watch some more. I try to stick to obscure horror movies, older horror movies. I don't really talk about the modern ones too much. I don't like to talk about, mainstream stuff. Like I said, my channel or my page, TikTok page, was intended to talk about obscure content, you know, so that's what I try to stick with, depending on what it is. Like, for example, I watched the original Evil Dead trilogy a couple weeks ago. Um, I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I don't see myself talking about it because, like I said, if you're a horror fan, even if you haven't really seen them like that, I would assume everybody knows what Evil Dead is. Um, now, there were some Evil Dead video games made back in the day. I started playing the first one that was made, Hail to the King. I mean to go back. I just play a little bit, put it down. But I did like what I played, and I do want to go back and finish that game and do a proper review on it. And I want to play them in order. So it was that one. It was Fistful of Boomstick, and then there was Regeneration. So though the video game trilogy, not counting the last one that came out some years ago. So I do want to talk about those. I think those would be a lot of fun. I do want to talk about the Evil Dead video games. So, when I get a chance to play those and beat them and all that stuff, I'll do a video. So maybe I'll try to do that around September, October. Yeah, like I said, there's a certain fan film I want to talk about. I never did. It's a fan film based off a horror icon. I never really got around to watching that all the way through, so I'll probably talk about that. We'll see. Like I said, we'll just have to wait and see what I cook up, what I come up with. So, stay tuned for all that. But as far as current videos, like I said, probably some more anime. There's a couple other video game stuff I kind of want to do. There's one Marvel game I started playing that I want to speak on. Give my 2 cents about that. So yeah, so when I get a chance, I'll talk about that. But yeah, excuse me, I'm just rambling to make up, for the extra time we have. So, like I said, Desert Rose, Snow Apocalypse. It's fun, solid. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. It's on YouTube. Check it out. All that good stuff. Stay tuned for more. Like, comment, follow. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.